Hi and welcome back to Alumni Corner. This is the third episode. I'm your host Hannah Cash and I'm here with a very special guest today. Head coach, football head coach, Clint Killough.
How's it going?
How are you? Thank you for joining me today.
No problem. I'm glad to be here.
You've got a very special, unique story. You graduated from UIW, you played football here, and now you're the head coach. I want to kind of go through your years and talk about your journey here at UIW.
I was born and raised here in San Antonio. Obviously, UIW is a little bit smaller of a school, so I had aspirations to go to a big school and do all those things. So I was a transfer student athlete actually in 2013. Got to come back home and be a part of this tight-knit community. Got a finance degree from here and got to play football, and now I'm back as a mentor and a coach.
You graduated in 2015 and then you came back in 2018 to start your coaching journey here. You clearly love it at UIW, but what do you like so much about it?
The people, probably. I've met some really special people that I think will be a part of my life for a really long time, and that have been there in moments that I needed them, and I kind of reciprocated that to them. So just the people and the relationships that are built at this place are really special and unique.
And you could kind of say the football program's changed from where it was when you were here to now. It's a bit more established, but how was your experience as a student athlete here?
It was good. It was good. Obviously, being able to play in the city that you grew up in is always a unique bonus. You know, my family and friends were able to be around me, and then it goes back to the people. I had some really strong relationships that were created. I was actually with a group of buddies, played a round of golf with them this past weekend that I played with that were my roommates in college. So all goes back to the people. Football's football. Obviously, enjoyed that part of it, but the relationships were just special.
And then you fast forward 9 years later and you're appointed head coach. Youngest in Division I football. Was that the best moment of your career so far?
I don't know if I'd say the best. I mean, there's just so many. I probably wouldn't say the best. I mean, the best part about it was just the fact that I guess I have more of an ability to reach everyone on the team. You know, as a position coach, you kind of get boxed into your position group room and you get so entrenched in those guys' lives and everything. But just being able to have a holistic perspective on the entire team and be able to impact those guys is probably the best part about it. I wouldn't say that was the best part of my career. There's so many that
so many to choose from.
It's too hard to compare.
But it's definitely up there with one of them.
It is definitely up there.
And you were young. Like I said, you were the youngest. Did you ever have doubts in your mind that you weren't really ready for that role?
I guess so. You have some doubts, obviously, just naturally. You know, as a human being, you just kind of question sometimes whether or not you're ready for it or not. But had so much experience here, have such good relationships with people, in athletics and on campus that. And again, I keep touching on these relationships, but those relationships are what made me confident that I was ready to do it. So. Mm-hmm.
And then if you go back and compare yourself in your first year of coaching here to being head coach of the program now, what would you say the differences in you are as a coach?
I mean, there's a lot of carryover. I'm pretty authentic. I haven't changed a whole bunch. Obviously, you got to be a little bit more. Take a deep breath before you take action and things like that, and just kind of give yourself some perspective. I mean, you grow with experience, I think. I think you become a better decision maker. And again, experiences shape you. But my mentality and just, the way that I care about these guys hasn't changed at all. Mm-hmm. I just think that the experiences have made me a better decision maker and a better leader.
So not many head coaches can say that they work at their alma mater. Mm-hmm. How did you use that experience of playing here? How did it enhance you in your coaching here?
I think relatability. Like I've sat in those lockers and I've been in that weight room and I've been on that field and I've worn the helmet and I've done all those things. So, I think that just the perspective that it gave me, and just the language and the conversations that I'm able to have with these players. I think that, sometimes, they all have their own journeys and their own stories. And I think that, sometimes in college, you're trying to find yourself and find your identity and find your purpose in things. And I think that, my perspective gives some relatability. you know, and I can bring things up to them. They're like, wow, man, like I didn't realize that coach even realized that was a thing.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's really cool. I really enjoyed those moments because it kind of puts us on the same level, and I can relate to them, and they can be comfortable with me enough to open up and talk about their life.
Yeah, you've been there, you've done it. And you do talk about relationships a lot, and there were a lot of successful people who came before you, Eric Morris, GJ Kinney, people you were very close with, worked alongside with. What did you learn from them, working alongside them?
Be you. You know, be you. Be confident. When you have conviction about something, don't be deterred from it. Work your tail off. Love the right way. Be passionate. Those types of things. Coach Morris was a huge impact on my life.
Good. And not just learning from other people, but also learning from yourself.
Yeah.
Which is, what did you learn your first season being head coach that you're going to take into your second season at UIW?
Oh, wow.
Big question.
Score as many points as you can. Score as many points as you can. You know, we had a ton of turnover from the 22 season to the 23 season. We lost about 66 players from the 22 roster to the 23 roster. Some really good players: Taylor Grimes, Darian Chafe, and Kalechi, Lindsay, all those guys. So, you know, it was a whirlwind, to be totally honest with you. All 10 full-time coaches left. So from the day after we got back from North Dakota State, I mean, it was a whirlwind. I mean, I'm trying to hire the best mentors and coaches for these guys, and we're trying to get people in the locker room and fill those 66 spots. And you know, we ended up being a really talented football team, but obviously we went through our trials and tribulations. I mean, again, we talk about relationships, but football's a game of relationships, and those relationships come out when the lights are on. You know, and when you're on the turf. And I think that the exciting part about this year's team is that we have 12 returning starters. We got a good crew of guys that came in at the mid-year that are going to spend the entire spring, the entire summer, fall camp, and everything. So they've been kind of entrenched into the culture and the mentality, and I'm excited because we got some competitive guys that have something to prove this year.
And looking to the future, what does the future look like for the UIW football program and yourself, Coach Killough?
I'd say bright. You know, we are going to the habits and the things that we repeat on a daily basis are going to come to light. And we have a group of people in that building that love each other and that are collective in their purpose. And we want to represent ourselves, this university and our community the right way. And at the end of the day, this is a wins and losses game. And so our mentality is to win off the field, but also win on the field. And those guys, they want to win a championship. They want to make people's lives better away from that facility. So just winning the right way. I think that's what it looks like.
Well, the future is very bright. Good luck for this semester. Spring ball's underway.
We start Saturday.
So good luck. Hope that all goes well. Thanks for sitting down with me, taking your time. I know you're so busy, so I really appreciate it.
No doubt.
And thank you. Thank you for watching. Join us after the break. We'll be talking to Abigail Velez.
Matt and Leland are out at the arcade. Maybe we should go join them.
Sure.
Let's go.
Okay. Adam, put your hands back on the wheel.
Oh, like this?
No!
Oh, I'm sorry.
Actually on the wheel.
I'm sorry.
Should you be smoking while driving?
Yeah, they've been doing it since the 60s. It's 1985.
I don't think that's safe. Adam, the road!
Distracted driving. It's always been a problem, even in the 80s. For more information on distracted driving, visit www.nhtsa.gov.
Every killer has the face of one. Not every killer makes its presence known. Sometimes it walks in the shadows, it following behind you. That's when it latches on. When you're so attached to the numb feeling you've conditioned yourself to accept that you can't live life without it. So that in the end, it isn't the killer. You are.
Hi and welcome to UIW Alumni Corner. This is the 4th episode. I'm your host Hannah Cash and we are here with a very special guest today, Abigail Velez. Thank you for coming on.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm happy to be back in the studio where it all started. So again, thanks.
Of course, thank you for coming on. And like I said, I want to kind of talk about your journey here. You've been quite all over Texas.
Yeah.
You've been to many places. And I want to talk about where it started, like you said, here at UIW in 2020.
Yes.
You graduated 2 years later with your degree in communication arts. But what I want to kind of ask you is, what did you love the most about UIW?
Wow, I mean, they really gave me the opportunity to get hands-on skills in the career that I'm now living out while I was a student, which is so important because while I was working on my degree, I was able to work on skills that I now use every day as a reporter, you know, pitching stories, shooting my own stories, conducting my own interviews. And so being able to get out into the community, going to city council meetings, holding interviews, and talking about community stories that matter to San Antonians and even students here at UIW really prepared me for my career that I have now as a reporter. So UIW, I always say, gave me a toolbox of success that I'm so blessed to live out every day now.
And you were here for 2 years. Yeah. What kind of student were you whilst you were here?
Well, I would say I was a very involved student. I mean, you know, Hannah, I did. Yes, I did everything here. I was the chief of staff for the Student Government Association. I was an anchor and reporter for UIWtv. I was a DJ for KUIW. I wrote for the newspaper. I was a work study. I mean, I did everything here. And the reason why is because I was a transfer student from El Paso Community College in UTEP. And I feel like I wasn't able to get a lot of university experience there. So when I transferred here, I thought I'm gonna try everything, get the best experience I can from this university, and try everything before I actually join the real world and figure out what I like and what I don't like. So I would say I was an involved student. I focused on my studies, but I had a good time too, and I don't regret a thing.
And all the opportunities you had here, what were some of those things that UIW offered, not just communication arts program, but things in general that other students can really take advantage of?
Yeah, absolutely. So as the chief of staff for the Student Government Association, we were able to talk to students about issues that mattered to them and really go to the administrators here at the university and advocate for students who maybe needed more resources. And so that really helped me build my skills of understanding people and being an advocate for people who might not have a voice as loud as mine. And that was an experience that I wouldn't take for granted, because now I feel so much more empathetic to people I meet on a daily basis, because that was a skill I gathered here at UIW. And in addition to that, we have a faith-based education system where I was able to go to church regularly and really focus on my faith while getting my degree and focusing on communication broadcast skills. So UIW sincerely gave me all the assets and avenues that I really needed to be a well-rounded person, well-rounded student, and prepared me for the job I have now.
And not just the opportunities at UIW, but one thing I want to talk about is you won Miss San Antonio in 2022. That is probably one of your greatest achievements in your career. Would you agree with me?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. One of the highlights of my life.
How was that whole experience? I can't, it's crazy that happened to you. It's amazing, but how was it all?
It was so crazy, and I was competing for that title during a regular semester here. So all of my professors, a lot of my classmates like you knew that I was competing, and I just felt like I was called to go into this pageant because a lot of my life was just work and school. I was working, 3 jobs to be able to pay off my tuition, and I was obviously focused on my schooling, but I just felt like I had so much more to give and I wanted to get involved in the community that I thought winning a pageant would connect me with all the right people and organizations to do that. And so I signed up for Miss San Antonio, and I tell everyone I manifested my success because I'm so big on speaking good things and speaking your your goals and aspirations into the universe, and the word of God says, come humbly to the throne, and then it'll be given unto you. And so I am just a huge believer in that. So I just, prayed about it. I told everyone around, I really want to be Miss San Antonio because I really want to make a difference. And at the time, and even now, I was really big on voter advocacy and voting rights. And I thought a lot of people my age don't really focus on the importance of voting. Big election year, there's a lot of things on local ballots that matter too. And so I spoke about the importance of being a registered voter, was able to win Miss San Antonio, bring the crown back to UIW, and hold voter registration fairs where I was able to register over 300 people in Bexar County to vote. And so not only did it allow me to be involved in community service and represent UIW, the institution that I love so much, but it also prepared me with confidence, public speaking skills, preparedness, appearance skills to go into my career as a reporter. So I owe so much gratitude to my year as Miss San Antonio. It really was the experience of a lifetime.
I know it's not every day you come across someone who not just took part in it, but won it. So that's just awesome.
I'm grateful.
But you graduated and then you had to leave San Antonio.
Yes.
And you went to North Carolina to be an MMJ in Greenville.
Yeah.
How was that experience? Because you kind of were just thrown into work.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever feel like, I don't think I'm ready for this, I don't feel that prepared, or kind of felt out of place in the newsroom? Yeah. Did you ever experience that?
I was so gracious to get the training and skills that I did here at UIW that when I started my career in Greenville, North Carolina, I actually felt ready to hit the ground running. I really did. I thought we used the same equipment that we did in college. We used the same editing software, and I'm looking for the same stories and asking the same questions. And so I really felt prepared to hit the ground running. And so I moved to the East Coast to be with my husband, who was a reporter in North Carolina as well. And I started my career there. I had excellent mentors there to give me foundational tips and skills to help get my career kickstarted. I did about 6 months there, and luckily enough, I was able to be named Journalist of the Year, Multimedia Journalist of the Year, which was a huge accomplishment for me because I was there for such a short amount of time. But every day I clocked in, I was so mentally and physically present and ready to tackle the world because I knew I had just graduated college and I knew that I had a lot to prove. And so I was just so eager to get out of the gate and do the best that I possibly could. And so I took that enthusiasm with me every day, and it really paid off.
And going into the industry you want to go into, news, it's not likely that you're going to get a top 3 market job straight out of college. You normally have to start off smaller. How important is it for that time to start off small and really learn as much as you can?
It's so important. I've spoken to a few people, I think you know as well, Hannah, that my goal in life, in my career at least, is to be at the #1 market in the nation and to be a network correspondent. But that doesn't happen overnight. Like you said, you have to start somewhere, and humble beginnings are the best way to learn and to grow. I feel like if I, in another universe, were able to get a network position out of college, I would have blown it. It would have been just so terribly ugly. The ratings would have plummeted because we're not ready. We're not ready for that. You really have to start somewhere small so you can make mistakes and learn and get a rhythm and get a style, which was so important to me, to find my style of reporting, to figure out who is Abigail Velez on camera and what kind of journalist does she want to be. And so I focused on that in Greenville. Now that I'm at CBS Austin, I feel like I'm getting a better rhythm of things. I'm feeling more confident and more sure of myself. And I think that I'm setting myself up for success so that when I'm offered a network correspondent position, I will have already gone through all the trials and tribulations and mistakes, that I will be as polished as possible when I reach the top. That's my goal, at least.
And then last year you took the next step. You mentioned CBS Austin, the capital city.
Yes.
A lot of the news you report is political.
Yeah.
It's very important that news you produce is unbiased and factual.
Oh, yeah.
How important is that to you?
It's massively important. I think the backbone of journalists right now is their ability to be truthful and unbiased, especially in the political climate right now where media is viewed as, fake news or biased. That it's our jobs to prove that wrong. It's our jobs to be just the messenger of truth rather than share our own agenda on TV. And so, like you mentioned, I'm from El Paso. I'm the product of being a fronteriza, raised on the border. I came from a Mexican-American household. A lot of times we were a low-income family. And so I'm someone who has very specific biases that I take with me, every day. But when I clock into work, that part of me is maybe put to the side so that I can step in somebody else's shoes to tell their story, because the last thing I want to do is perpetrate my own views onto someone when I'm interviewing them, because that's not the truth. It's my truth, but it's not everybody's. And so, yeah, being truthful and honest in your reporting is so important, especially when I'm reporting at the Texas Capitol, because this is news that affects Texans. And most recently, Texas has been on the forefront of the nation with our latest political pursuits that have been coming out of the Capitol. So for that reason, I don't take this job lightly, and I'm very particular about the wording I choose and the jargon I use. So every day I have a heavy responsibility on my shoulders, but I feel more than willing to be able to tackle that burden.
And like you said, it's all about learning, taking it day by day, clocking into work and kind of putting it all behind you, and focusing on your job at tasks. But if you compare yourself to you coming to UIW in 2020 to where you are now, what would you say some of the biggest differences are, or life lessons you've learned going through San Antonio to North Carolina back to Austin? So what would you say those differences are?
Wow. I have this tendency to set really high expectations of myself, and I am someone who is so tenacious and focused and driven that it's so rare that I will not accomplish those goals, not because it comes easy, but because sincerely I do not give up. I take my dreams and my passions so seriously, because it's not just my dreams and passions. You know, my family had to sacrifice so much for me to be able to come to a private institution like UIW, one of, you know, the most prestigious private universities in Texas. And for that reason, I showed up every day trying to be the best student that I could. When I wanted to be Miss San Antonio, I had to sacrifice so much. I mean, I was already working 3 jobs to afford schooling, that taking on an extra expense like pageantry really, really was a sacrifice I had to make, because I truly wanted that, and I accomplished it. And then after that, I wanted to be a professional journalist. This is a dream I've had since I was 12 years old. I've always known that I wanted to be a reporter, and I sacrificed my life in Texas to go and do that in North Carolina. So my whole life has been a series of goals that I have set for myself that I have vigorously pursued, and with the power of God's grace, manifestation, and an amazing support system, I've been able to accomplish almost all of the goals I've set for myself. I think a younger Abby at El Paso Community College and at UTEP didn't think that was possible. I don't think I felt confident enough. I don't think I was focused enough. And I don't think I had the determination and self-will that I do now. And so the person I am now is just a reflection of all the hard times I've had to go through to accomplish everything I have now. And I think a younger Abby would be in disbelief and just massively proud of who I am now. And I still have so much more to go. So I hope I continue making myself proud and my family proud, who lives in El Paso but still watches me every day on CBS Austin. So
that's so nice. That's so lovely. And you talk about kind of your goals and your future. Your biggest goal is to get to network. How are you going to do that?
I'm doing that by showing up and giving 110% of myself every day at CBS Austin. I think the best way to get to the top is to give everything you can now. And so at CBS Austin, I try my best. I do everything I can to create a great product for the station and create work that I'm proud of. And I do love CBS Austin. And, you know, I have great people around me to help encourage me and teach me things that I didn't know before. So I think in order to get to the next stop, I'm really focused on the work that I'm producing now to make sure it's excellent, and everything I do is a great reflection of myself and of the station, so that when I get the call, when New York calls, that I'm ready to answer and say, you know what, I did everything I could, I feel prepared, and I'm going to be a great asset to your team. So for now, I'm staying focused, I'm staying motivated, I'm doing the best I can to not just be a great on-air presence, but to be a great team player and mentor to everyone around me. I think you can ask anyone in the newsroom. I am always as positive as I can be, because if you've ever been in a newsroom, it's not really the peppiest place you can be. We're stressed out and we're on deadlines. And so I think we really need someone to be encouraging and motivating and driven, and I always want to be that person. So I'm giving my all at CBS Austin while I'm there, so that the next stop will be great. And if that's network or not, you know, God willing it is, but if it's not, I'm willing to accept that too, because I know that in any goal, in any dream that I have, I'm going to give 110%. So that's how I'm keeping myself aligned with the target.
You're so motivational, honestly. I feel like I'm at an inspirational point right now.
And you know, I haven't always been like that. I think after overcoming a lot of the obstacles I faced, a lot of them being at UIW, I think overcoming everything has made me feel like, you know, there's nothing we can't do, because I've already failed. I've been at rock bottom too many times, you know, and I always come up victorious. So, you know, there's nothing you can't do.
Yeah, you've proved yourself that you can do it all. And that's what I kind of want to finish on, is what advice would you give to someone who, like me, wants to go into TV industry, broadcasting industry? What advice would you give them?
Yeah, well, you're a great example, Hannah. You're doing everything here at UIW that you possibly can to help set you up for success for your next stop. And I think a lot of people can learn from you in that way, because you've taken the initiative on so many projects to show that you're creative and you're driven and you can accomplish big things, not just at the university, but at the professional level too. And so that's something I did. And my advice for anyone else, whether they want to go into reporting or not, is to set goals for yourself and make sure you do everything you can to stay driven and focused to achieve them, even if it's small goals. You know, when I was here at UIW, I was a waitress, and that was one of the jobs I had to be able to afford my tuition. And even, you know, being a server, I had goals for myself saying, I'm going to be happy today, I'm going to treat everyone with respect, and I'm going to get enough money to pay my rent. And so having short-term realistic goals can really help you to set yourself up for success. Like you said, I want to be network one day, but it starts now with saying, today at work, I'm going to tackle this story I've been really wanting to do, and I'm going to get that interview that we haven't been able to get. And so then I can create a product that I'm proud of. And so creating short-term, realistic goals that you can achieve to look back on and think, I really came all this way, is a great formula to success. And I just spoke to a classroom here at UIW, and I wanted to share it with you. One of my last things that I want people to take with them is to be sure to thank the people around you. I feel like in my career, this is a really thankless industry. A lot of times there's so many moving parts and pieces and people who are involved to create a newscast that don't get a thank you. And it's so difficult to be overlooked in that way. So I encourage everyone to tell someone thank you today. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your hard work. I just want to say thank you to you, Hannah, for welcoming me here. And thank you to the students who are producing this in the control room right now. So just a massive thank you to everyone. I'm really so blessed to be a product of UIW and to be able to come back here and reflect on how far I've come.
Well, thank you for coming on. I really enjoyed this. I think it was such an eye-opener to see someone who came to UIW living out their dream. I think it's really, really awesome to see, and I wish you all the luck in the future.
Thanks.
Network's calling you.
Fingers crossed.
And thank you guys for watching UIW Alumni Corner. Join us for our next episode next week. Thank you.